She walked into Saltai girl wearing a red dress and carrying an envelope with his name on it. Inside, written in his dead grandmother's handwriting, "Thatcher, if you're reading this, you showed up. That's all I ever asked. Her name is Zora. She doesn't know I left her $2 million in my will. Don't tell her yet. Just see who she is when she thinks you're nobody special. Love, the woman who raised you to be better than the walls you hide behind." He looked up. She was standing 3 feet away, holding a matching envelope, tears on her face. "Your grandmother," Zora whispered, "told me you'd hate this." "I do." "Good." She sat down. "Me too. Let's get it over with." Neither of them touched their menus for 2 hours. Family, welcome back to our channel, where we bring you emotional stories of love. Because in truth, love and death cannot be escaped. No one can say when, how, or where. It's never too early or too late. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button right now so you don't miss what happens next. And if you're one of our returning viewers, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Now, stay with us to the end of this story. Leave a comment with your thoughts and like this video. Let's continue. It was November 15th, 2024, and Thatcher Sinclair, 41, was doing something he hadn't done in 5 years. Sitting in a restaurant, waiting for a woman he'd never met, feeling like an absolute fool. The letter sat on the table between the water glasses. Eleanor's handwriting. He'd know it anywhere. The way she looped her LS, the little hearts she drew instead of dots over her is. She'd been gone 18 days. 18 days since he'd held her hand in that hospice room and promised. One date. That's all she asked. "Just one, sweetheart," she'd whispered, her voice barely there. "I found her. The right one. You'll see." He'd promised because you don't break promises to dying grandmothers. Especially not the grandmother who raised you after your parents wrapped their car around a tree when you were 8. Especially not the woman who sat through every parent-teacher conference, every baseball game, every board meeting after you built an empire she never quite understood but supported anyway. So here he was. Saltai girl. Her favorite restaurant. 7 o'clock on a Friday, wearing the navy suit she always said made him look less scary. Whatever that meant. His phone buzzed. Probably his assistant with another crisis. Sinclair Technologies didn't sleep just because he was honoring dead grandmother promises. But when he glanced down, it was a text from a number he didn't recognize. "I'm outside. I can't do this. Tell me your grandmother wasn't completely insane and I can leave." He stared at it. Typed back. "She was completely insane. But I promised her. So did you, apparently." 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. "The things we do for people we love." "Yeah. I'm wearing red. Your grandmother said you'd appreciate the warning." He almost smiled. Almost. The warning. "She said you like everything beige and safe. Said red might give you hives." Okay. His grandmother had definitely planned this like a military operation. "Come inside. Let's survive this together." He watched the door. Watched every person who walked through it like he was waiting for a business adversary. Which was stupid because this was just dinner. Just a promise. Just. She walked in. Red dress. The kind that wasn't trying too hard but somehow made every other woman in the room disappear. Natural hair. Curls catching the light. Brown skin. Darker than the bourbon he'd been considering ordering. She held her phone in one hand and a small envelope in the other, and when her eyes found his across the restaurant, he watched her take a breath. Steady herself. Walk toward him like she was heading into battle. He stood. Manners Eleanor drilled into him. Thatcher. Zora. They didn't shake hands. Didn't hug. Just stood there, 2 people caught in the same trap, staring at each other like inmates comparing sentences. She held up her envelope. "You too." "Yeah." "Did you read yours?" "Beginning." "You." "Same." She glanced around the restaurant. "Your grandmother had excellent taste. I'll give her that. She ate here every Sunday after church." They knew her order by heart. Something flickered across Zora's face. Soft. Sad. She told me. In one of the letters. How many did she write you? 8. Zora sat down, and he followed. One for each date she wanted us to have. You. Same. They sat in silence. The waiter appeared, took drink orders neither of them really wanted, disappeared. Zora opened her envelope slowly. Read. Her expression shifted, surprise, then something deeper. When she looked up, her eyes were wet. She wrote about you, Zora said quietly. About raising you after your parents died. About how proud she was of what you built. About how worried she was that you'd forgotten how to let people in. Thatcher's jaw tightened. She had opinions. She loved you. Zora's voice was firm. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. He opened his own envelope. Read his grandmother's words. Thatcher, my darling boy. If you're reading this, you showed up. That's all I ever asked. Her name is Zora Baptiste. She's 38. She runs a non-profit that helps kids like you were. The ones who lost everything and need someone to believe in them. She doesn't know I left her $2 million in my will. Don't tell her yet. Just see who she is when she thinks you're nobody special. See if she looks at you the way I always hoped someone would. Love, the woman who raised you to be better than the walls you hide behind. P.S. Order the lobster roll. Trust me. He read it twice. Then looked up. Zora was watching him. What did she say? That I should order the lobster roll. That's it. And that you run a non-profit. Zora nodded slowly. Horizon Youth Foundation. We do mentorship programs for kids in underserved communities. Your grandmother volunteered with us for 5 years. Every Tuesday without fail. The kids loved her. That landed like a punch. She never told me. She said you were too busy to hear about it. Zora's tone wasn't judgmental. Just factual. Said you worked 100-hour weeks and barely remembered to eat. She wasn't wrong. She also said, Zora continued softer now, that you hadn't been on a date since your engagement ended. 5 years ago. His walls went up instantly. She told you about Victoria. Not much. Just that someone hurt you badly enough that you stopped trying. Zora met his eyes. I get it. My ex-husband did a number on me too. Marcus. Divorced 3 years ago. He married me thinking I'd give up the nonprofit, stay home, be the perfect corporate wife. When I didn't, he made sure I knew exactly how disappointing I was. Daily. Thatcher felt something crack in his chest. Just slightly. I'm sorry. Don't be. I'm not. She smiled, but it was tired. I'm just saying, I understand why your grandmother thought we might. I don't know. Understand each other. The waiter returned. They ordered lobster rolls, because apparently Eleanor was orchestrating from beyond the grave. After he left, Zora leaned back, studying Thatcher with unsettling directness. So here's my question, she said. Do we do this? Actually do this? 8 dates, 8 letters, whatever your grandmother planned. Or do we have a nice dinner, honor the promise, and go back to our lives? Thatcher considered. The smart move was option 2. Clean. Simple. No complications. But something about the way Zora sat there, proud but not defensive, warm but not needy, challenging him without trying, made him curious. What do you want to do? He asked. I asked you first. I'm aware. She laughed. Actually laughed. Your grandmother said you were stubborn. She talked about me a lot, apparently. Every single Tuesday. For 5 years. Zora's expression softened. She adored you, Thatcher. Even when she was frustrated with your work schedule and your fortress of an emotional life, she adored you. So yeah, I know things. I know you lost your parents when you were 8. I know she raised you. I know you built a tech company worth billions. I know you donated an anonymous $1 million to children's hospitals last year. I know. How do you know about that? His voice sharpened. That was anonymous. Your grandmother told me. 2 months before she died. Zora held his gaze. She was proud. Wanted someone to know the good you do when you think nobody's watching. Something in his throat went tight. Look, Zora said, gentler now. I don't know what she was thinking, setting this up. But I loved her. Those Tuesday afternoons? She made me laugh when I wanted to cry. She listened when I couldn't talk to anyone else. She became. Her voice caught. She became like family. So if she wanted us to try this, to see if there's something here, then I owe her that much. Even if it's awkward. Even if we have nothing in common. Even if. We have one thing in common, Thatcher interrupted. What's that? We both loved her enough to show up. Zora's smile reached her eyes this time. Real. Warm. Yeah. We did. Their food arrived. They ate. Talked. Nothing deep, just surface things. Her work, his company, Boston in November, the ridiculousness of their situation. But underneath it all, something else hummed. Not attraction exactly. More like recognition. Two people who'd built walls so high they'd forgotten what it felt like to let someone peek over. When the check came, Thatcher reached for it automatically. Zora raised an eyebrow. We splitting this? No. Why not? Because my grandmother would haunt me. Fair. She grinned. But next time I'm paying. Next time. You agreed to 8 dates, didn't you? I agreed to consider it. Well, consider faster. I've got 7 more letters to read, and your grandmother's handwriting is addictive. Zora stood, gathering her coat and purse, then paused. Thank you. For showing up. For not being a complete jerk about this. For, I don't know, making it less weird than it could have been. You too. They walked outside together. November wind, cold enough to hurt. Zora pulled her coat tighter. Where are you parked? Thatcher asked. I took the T. I don't own a car. In Boston. Non-profit director salary. She shrugged. It's fine. I like the train. I'll drive you home. You don't have to. Zora. He looked at her. Really looked. My grandmother would haunt me. Remember? She studied him for a long moment. Then nodded. Okay. But only because I'm freezing and Eleanor deserves respect. His car was obscene. Black, sleek, the kind that cost more than most people's houses. Zora didn't comment, but he saw her clock it. Saw the slight shift in her expression. Not impressed. Not disapproving. Just noting. Calculating. Filing away information about the life he led. They drove through Boston in silence at first. Then Zora spoke. Your grandmother's funeral. I was there. In the back. He glanced over. I didn't see you. You weren't looking. You were. She trailed off. You looked like you were holding yourself together with wire. I was. Are you? Still. The question hung between them. Honest. Dangerous. Every day, he admitted. Yeah. Zora's voice went soft. Me too. He pulled up to her address in Dorchester. Modest, triple-decker. Lights on in the windows. Normal. Real. Nothing like his Beacon Hill brownstone with its security system and empty rooms. This is me, she said. Then hesitated, hand on the door. Letter number 2. Your grandmother's instructions. Do we open them before the next date or after? Before. She'd want us to sweat over what she wrote. Zora laughed. You're probably right. She opened the door, cold air rushing in. Paused again. Thatcher. Yeah. I'm glad she picked you. For what it's worth. I'm glad she thought we'd. I don't know. Fit somehow. She was gone before he could respond. But he sat there for a long time after, watching her walk up the steps, disappear inside, and wondered why his chest felt like something had just been pried open after 5 years of being sealed shut. His phone buzzed. Text from his assistant. Crisis handled. See you Monday. He drove home. Walked into his brownstone. Poured 2 fingers of scotch. Sat in his study where Eleanor's photograph sat on his desk, Her at 85, laughing at something he'd said, eyes bright with life. I showed up, he told the photograph. Like I promised. Now what? The photograph didn't answer. But when he opened the second envelope Eleanor had left for him, her words did. Second date. Boston Public Garden. The bridge where your grandfather proposed to me 60 years ago. Take her there. Tell her one true thing about yourself. Something you've never told anyone. If she runs, she wasn't right. If she stays, pay attention. Love isn't easy, sweetheart. But it's the only thing that ever really mattered. All my love, Eleanor. He read it 3 times. Put it down. Picked up his phone. Texted Zora. Read the second letter yet? Response came fast. Just did. Boston Public Garden. The bridge. One true thing. Your grandmother didn't mess around. No. She didn't. When? He should have said next week. Should have given them both space to process. Should have been smart. Instead he typed, tomorrow, 2 o'clock. If you're free. 3 dots. Then, I'm free. See you there. He put the phone down. Finished his scotch. Looked at Eleanor's photograph. I hope you know what you're doing, he said. But in the silence of his empty brownstone, for the first time in 5 years, Thatcher Sinclair felt something besides the cold. He felt curious. Family, if you watched this story up to this point, it means it moved you. Leave your thoughts and tell me where you are watching from in the comment, and make sure to like and hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Smash the hype button now if you found value in this content. It really helps my channel. Boston Public Garden looked like a postcard on November 16th. The kind of day where the cold was sharp but the sun made up for it, turning everything gold and clear. Thatcher arrived 15 minutes early because that's what you did in business. Controlled the terrain, set the tone, maintained advantage. Except this wasn't business. And Zora was already there. She stood on the bridge, exactly where Eleanor's second letter had directed them. Same red coat from last night, hands in her pockets, staring down at the frozen pond like it held answers. She didn't hear him approach. Didn't sense him. Just stood there, perfectly still, and he wondered what she was thinking about. What one true thing she'd chosen to tell him. You're early, he said. She turned. Smiled. So are you. Habit. Control freak. Efficient. Same thing. But she said it warmly. Stepped aside so he could join her on the bridge. Your grandmother proposed here? Your grandfather, I mean. 1964. December. He said she deserved something beautiful, and this was the most beautiful place he knew. Thatcher leaned against the railing. She told that story every Christmas. How he got down on one knee in the snow, how people stopped to watch, how she said yes before he even finished asking. That's lovely. They had 48 years together. He died in 2012. I'm sorry. Don't be. They had more than most people get. He glanced at her. She never really recovered, though. Oh, she smiled, she laughed, she volunteered at your nonprofit. But something in her just dimmed. Like half her light source was gone. Zora nodded slowly. That's love, though. Real love. It changes your infrastructure. When it's gone, you're still standing, but the foundation's different. Speaking from experience. Not romantic love. My sister. Her voice went quiet. Amara. She died when I was 19. Cancer. She was 23. And yeah, I'm still standing. But the foundation's different. Thatcher felt that land. Felt the weight of it. Is that your one true thing? No. That's just context. Zora turned to face him fully. You want to go first, or should I? Ladies first. Sexist. Traditional. Still sexist. But she smiled. Took a breath. Okay. One true thing I've never told anyone. Another breath. I'm terrified I'm becoming my mother. He waited. Didn't interrupt. Let her find the words. My mom, Nadine, she's amazing. Brilliant. Gave everything to everyone. Retired school principal. Church volunteer. neighborhood hero. But she gave so much that she forgot she was a person with needs. My dad left when I was 12 because he said living with her was like living with a saint, and saints don't leave room for regular humans. Zora's hands tightened on the railing. And I look at my life, running the nonprofit, working 70-hour weeks, saying yes to every kid who needs help, every family in crisis, and I think I'm doing exactly what she did. Disappearing into service. Making myself small by making myself useful. You're not small. You barely know me. I know you showed up last night when you didn't want to. I know you loved my grandmother enough to humor her dying wishes. I know you run an organization that helps kids who have nothing. He paused. That's not small. That's terrifying in how big it is. Her eyes went bright. Not quite tears. Close. Your turn. He looked out at the pond, at the frozen water and the skeletal trees and the people walking paths worn smooth by decades of footsteps. Eleanor had loved this place. Had brought him here as a kid, fed the ducks, told him stories about love and loss and everything in between. I haven't cried since my grandmother died, he said. Haven't cried since Victoria left, actually. 5 years. Not once. Not at the funeral, not alone, not ever. And I don't know if that makes me strong or broken, but I know it's the truth. Silence. Then Zora's hand covered his on the railing. Warm. Solid. Real. Maybe both, she said softly. Maybe you're strong because you're broken, and broken because you're strong. Maybe they're not opposites. He looked down at her hand on his. Small against his. Dark against pale. He should move away. Keep distance. Maintain walls. Instead, he turned his hand over. Held hers. Just held it. They stood like that for a long time. Not talking. Just breathing the same cold air, watching the same frozen pond, existing in the same moment without needing it to be more than it was. Finally, Zora spoke. The third letter. Did you read it? Not yet. You. No. I was too nervous about today. She glanced up at him. Should we read them now? Together. Eleanor would like that. They sat on a bench, close enough that their shoulders touched. Both pulled out envelopes. Both opened them simultaneously. Both read in silence. Thatcher's letter said, Date 3. Cook dinner together. Her place or yours, doesn't matter. But make something from scratch. Work together. See how you move around each other. See if you fight over the recipe or laugh when something burns. See if you're compatible in the small moments, not just the big ones. And Thatcher. Let her see where you live. Let her see the emptiness you've built. She needs to know what she's walking into. All my love, Eleanor. He looked at Zora. Yours. She was staring at her letter, expression unreadable. Then she handed it to him. Zora, sweetheart. Date 3. Cook dinner together. But here's the part one need you to hear. He's going to offer to come to your place because he thinks his home is too much. Too big, too expensive, too intimidating. Don't let him hide. Make him invite you to his world. Make him show you who he really is, not who he thinks you need him to be. You're stronger than you know. Prove it. Love, Eleanor. Thatcher read it twice. Then looked at Zora. She really did plan everything. Down to predicting your moves. Zora's smile was crooked. So. Your place. You don't have to. Thatcher. She cut him off firm but kind. Your grandmother was right. You were going to offer to come to mine. You were going to make yourself smaller to make me comfortable. Don't. I'm a grown woman. I can handle seeing how you live. He wanted to argue. Wanted to protect her from the reality of his wealth. His isolation. His carefully constructed fortress. But Eleanor's voice echoed in his head. Let her see the emptiness you've built. Okay, he said. My place. When? Tonight. You're free. I'm choosing to be free. There's a difference. She stood, pulling him up with her. What should I bring? Just yourself. Thatcher. Wine then. Red. Something Italian. I can do that. She squeezed his hand once, then let go. Started walking backward down the bridge. 6 o'clock. 6 is good. Don't clean up too much. I want to see the real version. It's always clean. I have a housekeeper. Of course you do. But she was smiling. See you at 6, Billionaire. She was gone before he could respond. But he stood there on the bridge, in the spot where his grandfather had proposed 60 years ago, and felt something dangerous bloom in his chest. Hope. At 5:47 p.m., Thatcher's Beacon Hill brownstone looked exactly like what it was. Expensive, tasteful, and utterly devoid of warmth. He'd lived here for 8 years. Had custom furniture, original artwork, a kitchen most chefs would kill for. Everything in its place. Everything perfect. Everything empty. He stared at the living room. Cream furniture, abstract art, not a single photograph except Eleanor's in his study. No throw blankets, no stacks of books, no coffee rings on tables. It looked like a hotel. Like a place someone stayed, not lived. Let her see the emptiness you've built. The doorbell rang at exactly 6. Because of course Zora was punctual. She stood on his doorstep in jeans and a sweater, hair pulled back, holding a bottle of wine and looking up at his building with an expression he couldn't quite read. "Welcome," he said, stepping aside. She walked in. Stopped. Turned in a slow circle, taking it all in. The soaring ceilings, the perfect furniture, the deliberate absence of personality. "Wow," she said finally. "Too much." "No. Too little." She looked at him. "Thatcher, where do you actually live in this place?" "What do you mean?" "I mean, where's the mess? The pile of mail, the jacket thrown over a chair, the book left open on the couch? Where's the life?" He had no answer. Zora walked further in, trailing her fingers along surfaces. "It's beautiful. Really. But it's like a museum. Like you're preserving something instead of living in it. I work a lot. I'm barely here. That's not why." She turned to face him. "You're barely here even when you're here. This isn't a home, Thatcher. It's a holding cell you built yourself." The accuracy of that stabbed. "Eleanor said the same thing," he admitted. "Last year. She came for dinner, looked around, and asked when I was going to stop punishing myself." "For what?" "I don't know. Surviving, maybe. Building something when my parents didn't get to. Having money when she raised me on a teacher's pension. Choosing work over a relationship with Victoria." He moved to the window. "Take your pick." Zora was quiet for a long moment. Then, "Can I see your study? Where you keep her picture?" He led her down the hall. Opened the door to the one room that actually felt like his. Dark wood, worn leather chair, shelves of books he'd actually read, Eleanor's photograph front and center on his desk. Zora walked straight to it. Picked it up gently. "This is the her I knew. The one who laughed. That was taken 2 years ago. Before she got sick. She was stubborn about the chemo. Refused it at first. I didn't know that. She said she'd lived a full life, and she wasn't afraid of dying. She was only afraid of leaving you alone." Zora set the photo down carefully. "She made me promise, you know." At the end. Thatcher's throat went tight. "Promise what?" "That I'd give this a real chance. The dates, the letters, whatever she'd planned. That I wouldn't write you off as some cold businessman. That I'd look for the boys she raised." Zora met his eyes. "She said you were still in there. Under all the armor. She said you just needed someone patient enough to wait for you to remember." He couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. "So here's the thing," Zora continued softly. "I don't know if this is going to work. Us. Whatever this is. But I promised her. And I don't break promises to people I love. So I'm all in, Thatcher. For all 8 dates. For whatever she planned. I'm all in." "Why?" "Because she loved you. Because I loved her. And because—" She hesitated. "Because last night, when you told me you haven't cried in 5 years, I saw it. The boy she raised. Just for a second. And I want to meet him. Something cracked in his chest. Something massive and old and calcified. He felt it splinter. Felt air rush into spaces that had been sealed for half a decade. We should cook, he managed. Before I do something stupid. Like what? Like tell you things I shouldn't tell anyone on a third date. Zora smiled. Save it for date 4. Eleanor probably has instructions. They moved to the kitchen. He'd bought groceries. Ingredients for homemade pasta, something Eleanor used to make. Zora rolled up her sleeves, washed her hands, and immediately started organizing his counter space like she'd been cooking in his kitchen for years. You're bossy, he observed. You're controlling. We'll balance out. They didn't. They collided. Argued over measurements, laughed when flour ended up everywhere, swore when the pasta stuck together. Zora stole tastes directly from the pan. Thatcher corrected her knife technique. She told him to stop micromanaging. He told her to stop improvising. They were terrible at cooking together. It was perfect. Your grandmother was sneaky, Zora said, stirring sauce. This wasn't about the food. No. It was about seeing if we could disagree without destroying each other. If we could be in close quarters without needing to win. She glanced at him. Can we? I don't know yet. You're still using the wrong size pot. She threw a mushroom at him. He caught it. They both froze. Then Zora started laughing, real and uncontrolled, and Thatcher realized he was smiling. Actually smiling. The kind that reached his eyes, used muscles he'd forgotten existed. They ate at his dining room table. The one that seated 12 but had only ever held him. Zora insisted on candles. Wine. Making it feel less like a museum and more like a moment. Tell me about your non-profit, he said. How did it start? After Amara died, I was lost. Angry. I dropped out of college for a year, just existed. Then I started volunteering at a youth center in Dorchester. Met kids who'd lost parents, siblings, parts of themselves. And I realized we could help each other. They needed someone who understood, and I needed a reason to keep going. She took a sip of wine. Started Horizon Youth 10 years ago in a church basement. Now we serve 300 kids across 5 locations. That's incredible. It's exhausting. But she said it with love. What about you? Why tech? Control. He said it without thinking. Code is clean. Logical. You tell it what to do, it does it. No emotions, no betrayals, no variables you can't account for. Except users. Users ruin everything. She laughed. Is that why you're the CEO? So you can control the users? I'm the CEO because I built the company from nothing. Because when Victoria and James tried to steal it out from under me, I made sure they couldn't. His voice went cold without meaning to. Because I learned that the only person you can trust is yourself. Zora set down her fork. What happened? With them. He'd never told anyone the full story. Not even Eleanor, not really. But something about Zora, the way she listened like she actually cared, like his pain mattered, made the words come. We were partners. The 3 of us. Best friends since college. Built Sinclair Technologies together in a garage. Cliché, I know. Victoria and I got engaged after 5 years. Everything was perfect. He drained his wine glass. Then I found out they'd been sleeping together for 2 years. Found out they'd been planning to force me out of my own company, take it public without me, split my shares. They had lawyers, contracts, everything ready. Oh, Thatcher. I outmaneuvered them. Bought them out, kept the company, made sure they couldn't work in tech again. Victory, right? He looked at her. Except I haven't trusted another human being since. Haven't let anyone close. Haven't. He stopped. Eleanor said I was killing myself slowly. Isolation as suicide. She wasn't wrong. Zora reached across the table. Took his hand. Just held it like she had on the bridge. I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm sorry they made you believe people aren't worth the risk. Her thumb moved across his knuckles. But they were wrong. And you're wrong. People are worth it. The right people. How do you know who the right people are? You don't. Not at first. You just trust. Jump. Hope you land somewhere soft. And if you don't, then you get hurt. Then you get up. Then you try again. She squeezed his hand. That's the deal, Thatcher. Love isn't safe. Connection isn't guaranteed. But the alternative, living like this in your perfect empty museum, that's not living at all. He stared at their joined hands. Dark and pale. Warm and cold. Two people who shouldn't make sense together but somehow did. I don't know how to do this, he admitted. Any of this. Dating, trusting, being. Whatever this is. Neither do I. But we've got 6 more dates to figure it out. Zora smiled. And your grandmother's instructions. She's basically our GPS. GPS to what? I don't know yet. But I'm curious to find out. They cleaned up together. Zora insisted on doing dishes. You cooked, I cleaned, that's the rule. And Thatcher stood next to her, drying, existing in domestic intimacy he hadn't experienced in years. When she was ready to leave, he walked her to the door. Helped her with her coat. Stood too close and not close enough simultaneously. Thank you, she said, for letting me see this. Your home. Your story. You. Thank you for not running. Oh, I thought about it. Around the time you told me the pasta measurements were wrong. She grinned. But then you smiled. And I realized your grandmother was right. You're worth the patience. She kissed his cheek. Quick, soft, gone before he could process it. Then she was out the door, down the steps, walking into the November night like she hadn't just detonated something in his carefully controlled world. Thatcher stood in his doorway long after she disappeared. Stood there until the cold made him shake. Then he went back inside, looked at his empty living room, and for the first time in 5 years, he saw what Zora saw. A holding cell. A museum. A life preserved instead of lived. He pulled out his phone. Texted her. Made it home okay? Just walked in. Thank you for tonight. Thank you for showing up. Again. That's what we do, right? Show up for people we love. The word hung there. Love. Not for him. Not yet. But for Eleanor. For the promise. For something bigger than both of them. Letter for tomorrow? Let's wait a few days. Process this one first. Okay. Good night, Zora. Good night, Thatcher. Sweet dreams. He didn't have sweet dreams. But for the first time in 18 days, he dreamed at all. And in those dreams, his house wasn't empty. There was laughter, warmth, red dresses, and flour on the countertops. There was life. Thanksgiving week arrived cold and unforgiving. Thatcher spent Monday through Wednesday drowning in work. Acquisition meetings, investor calls, crisis management when a competitor tried poaching his lead engineers. He barely slept. Barely ate. Fell back into old patterns like muscle memory. He didn't open Eleanor's 4th letter. Didn't text Zora except brief messages that felt increasingly hollow. Crazy week. Sorry. Still breathing. Barely. Rain check on letter 4? Her responses were understanding. Patient. Everything he didn't deserve. Take your time. I'm not going anywhere. Breathe. Work will still be there tomorrow. Eleanor would tell you to eat something. So I'm telling you. Eat. By Wednesday night, he was standing in his kitchen at 11 p.m., staring at takeout containers and wondering when he'd become the exact person Eleanor had worried about. The exact person Zora had called out, living in a holding cell, choosing isolation over risk, confusing survival with actual life. His phone rang. Zora. He almost didn't answer. Hello. You're shutting down. Her voice was gentle but firm. I can feel it through the phone. You're retreating. I'm just busy. Thatcher. Don't lie to me. We're past that. He set down his fork. Abandoned the lukewarm Chinese food. What do you want me to say? The truth. Are you scared? Did I push too hard at dinner? Did I? No. He cut her off. You were perfect. That's the problem. Silence. Then, explain. I eat. Takeout doesn't count. When's the last time someone cooked for you? He thought about it. Last week. Zora and I made pasta. And before that, my grandmother. 2 years ago. Nadine shook her head. That's not living. That's surviving. That's what Zora said. Because we're both right. Nadine passed him more sweet potatoes. Eleanor told me you work 100-hour weeks. Said you're building an empire but forgetting to build a life. Mom, Zora said, warning in her tone. What? It's true. And he needs to hear it. But Nadine's expression softened. Thatcher. You seem like a good man. Sad but good. And my daughter, she's got enough sadness for both of you. What she needs is someone who chooses joy. Someone who fights for happiness instead of accepting loneliness. Can you be that? The question hung there. Honest. Brutal. Fair. I don't know, he admitted. I'm trying. That's all I've got right now. Nadine studied him for a long moment. Then nodded. Honest. Good. Keep that up. After dinner, Zora dragged him out to the back porch. Tiny, barely room for 2 chairs, but private. The November cold bit through his sweater. Sorry about my mom, she said. She's protective. She should be. You're worth protecting. So are you. Zora pulled her knees up, wrapped her arms around them. Your family. Eleanor's gone. Who else is there? No one. No one. I have employees. Business associates. People who work for me or want something from me. But family. He shook his head. Eleanor was it. And now she's not. That's so lonely. It's what I chose. No. It's what happened to you. There's a difference. She turned to face him. After Victoria and James, you didn't choose isolation. You chose protection. You chose safety. And somewhere along the way, safety became a prison. He wanted to argue. Couldn't. Your mom asked if I could choose joy, he said. I don't remember how. I don't remember what it feels like to want something more than I want safety. Then let me show you. Zora's voice was soft but certain. Let me and my loud family and my chaotic life show you what it looks like. You don't have to become us. But maybe you can remember that other options exist. Inside, someone turned on music. Old Motown, the kind Eleanor used to play. Through the window, Thatcher could see Nadine dancing with her grandkids. Laughing, alive. I envy this, he admitted. This warmth. This ease. People who actually like each other. You can have it. You just have to let people in. What if I let them in and they leave? What if? What if they don't? Zora interrupted. What if some people stay? What if some people are worth the risk? He looked at her. Really looked. Saw the hope in her eyes, the vulnerability she was offering, the bridge she was building between his world and hers. Read letter 5 with me, he said suddenly. Now. Together. Now. Before I lose my nerve. They pulled out their envelopes. Opened them simultaneously in the cold November air. Thatcher's letter said, Date 5. Go somewhere that scares you. Not physically dangerous, emotionally dangerous. Somewhere that makes you vulnerable. For you, sweetheart, that might mean a party, a gathering, somewhere you have to be social and open. Take her. Let her see you with other people. Let her see if you can be comfortable in a crowd, or if you're only comfortable alone with her. This matters. Love isn't just 2 people in isolation. It's 2 people in the world. Can you exist there together? Love, Eleanor. Zora read hers aloud. Zora. Darling. Date 5. Let him into your work. Show him your nonprofit, your kids, the thing you love most besides people. Let him see your passion. Let him see what drives you. And watch carefully. Does he respect it or resent it? Does he support your calling or see it as competition? This will tell you everything. Love, Eleanor. They looked at each other. Your non-profit, Thatcher said. When? We have a holiday event next week. December 1st. Kids, families, donors, chaos. She hesitated. It's not fancy. It's a community center in Dorchester. It's loud and messy and I'll be there. What time? 6 to 9. But Thatcher, you don't have to. I want to. And he meant it. I want to see what you built. What matters to you? And the party? Zora asked. Somewhere that scares you socially? He thought about it. My company holiday party. December 7th. Black tie, 300 people, everyone trying to impress everyone else. I hate it. Then why go? Because I'm the CEO. Because it's expected. Because, he stopped. Because Eleanor's right. I need to prove I can exist in the world. With you. Not just in private. Okay then. December 1st and 7th. 2 dates. 1 week. We're getting efficient. We're getting brave. Zora stood, held out her hand. Come back inside. My mom's going to make you eat pie whether you want it or not. I'm full. Doesn't matter. It's pie. Those are the rules. He took her hand. Let her pull him up. Let her lead him back inside to warmth and noise and people who barely knew him but welcomed him anyway. Later, after pie and coffee and promises to return for Christmas, Thatcher stood at his car while Zora walked him out. Thank you, he said. For this. For them. For showing me what I've been missing. They liked you. My mom especially, even though she gave you a hard time. How could you tell? She made you take leftovers. She only does that for people she approves of. Zora smiled. You're in. Just like that. Just like that. He wanted to kiss her. Wanted it so badly his hand shook. But something held him back. Fear, uncertainty, the weight of 5 years alone. Zora saw it. Saw his hesitation. Instead of pushing, she hugged him. Quick, warm, generous. Then stepped back. December 1st, she said. 6 o'clock. Horizon Youth Foundation. Dorchester. Come ready for chaos. I'll be there. He watched her go back inside. Watched through the window as her family pulled her into another dance, another laugh, another moment of uncomplicated joy. Then he drove back to Beacon Hill, to his brownstone, to his carefully controlled silence. But for the first time in 5 years, the silence felt wrong. Felt like a choice he could unmake. Felt like something Eleanor had been trying to teach him all along. Safety wasn't the same as living. Walls weren't the same as protection. And isolation, no matter how comfortable, was still a kind of death. He pulled out his phone. Texted Zora, made it home. Thank you for today. For your family. For being patient with someone who's forgotten how to do this. Her response came fast. You're doing better than you think. See you December 1st. Bring comfortable shoes. You'll be on your feet all night. Noted. Good night, Zora. Good night, Thatcher. Sweet dreams. He fell asleep that night thinking about dancing grandmothers, too much pie, and a woman in a soft sweater who kept showing up even when he gave her every reason not to. And in his dreams, his house wasn't empty anymore. It was full of music, laughter, and the possibility of something he'd stopped believing in years ago. Home. December 1st arrived with the kind of cold that made Boston feel hostile. Thatcher left his office at 5:30 p.m., ignoring the stack of contracts waiting for his signature, ignoring his assistant's reminder about the morning meeting, ignoring every instinct that said work was safer than whatever he was about to walk into. He'd changed into jeans and a sweater. The comfortable shoes Zora requested were Nikes he'd bought that morning, still stiff, tags barely removed. He felt ridiculous. A 41-year-old billionaire wearing brand new sneakers to a community center in Dorchester. But he'd promised Eleanor. And he'd promised Zora. Horizon Youth Foundation occupied a renovated fire station. Red brick, tall windows, basketball hoops visible through the glass. Cars packed the small parking lot. Music thumped from inside. Through the windows he could see movement, color, life. He sat in his car for 5 minutes. Breathing. Preparing. His phone buzzed. Zora. I see your fancy car. Stop hiding. Come inside. He laughed despite himself. Texted back. Gathering courage. You literally run a billion-dollar company. You can handle some kids and cookies. Kids are terrifying. Good. They should be. Now get in here. He got out. Walked to the door. The moment he entered, sound hit him like a physical force. Music, laughter, children screaming with joy, adults talking over each other. Decorations everywhere. Paper snowflakes, string lights, a crooked Christmas tree in the corner surrounded by donated presents. Zora found him immediately. She wore jeans and a Horizon Youth hoodie, hair pulled back, face bright with excitement. She looked younger here. Lighter. This was her element. You came, she said, slightly breathless. I promised. You also promised last week and then disappeared into work for 4 days. I'm working on consistency. I noticed. Progress. She took his hand naturally. Come on. Let me show you around before the chaos really hits. She led him through the space, pointing out details. The art room where kids created murals, the computer lab he donated to without knowing it. Anonymous donation last year? That was you, wasn't it? The kitchen where volunteers prepared meals. The gym where mentorship sessions happened. We serve 300 kids, Zora explained. Ages 8 to 18. Most are from single-parent homes, low-income families, or foster care. We provide tutoring, mentorship, meals, college prep, job training, whatever they need. How do you fund it? Grants, donations, fundraisers. I don't take a salary. Well, I take $20,000 a year. Enough to survive. Everything else goes to the kids. Thatcher stopped walking. $20,000? In Boston. I have a rent-controlled apartment. I don't need much. Zora. Don't. She cut him off gently. Don't tell me I should take more. Don't tell me I'm being irresponsible. This is my choice. These kids need it more than I need comfort. He recognized that tone. The defensive pride. The fear of being judged. I was going to say, he continued quietly, that Eleanor was right about you. You're extraordinary. Her expression softened. Oh. But also you need to pay yourself properly. You can't help anyone if you burn out. Thatcher. Not now. Later. Just think about it. Before she could respond, a boy around 12 ran up, nearly colliding with them. Miss Zora. Deshawn took my controller. Did you ask him nicely to give it back? I asked him not nicely. Marcus. Zora's voice was firm but warm. What do we do when we want something? Ask respectfully even if we're mad. Exactly. Now go try again. If it doesn't work, come find me. The boy ran off. Zora turned back to Thatcher. That's Marcus. Been with us 3 years. His mom works 2 jobs. He basically raises his little sister. He's exhausting and brilliant and one of my favorites, though I'm not supposed to have favorites. You definitely have favorites. I absolutely have favorites. She grinned. Come on. I'll introduce you to some of them. The next 2 hours were a blur. Thatcher met dozens of kids. Shy ones, loud ones, kids who asked him a million questions, kids who ignored him completely. He helped set up tables, served pizza, refereed a basketball game he barely understood, and somehow ended up teaching a coding basics workshop to 5 teenagers who asked better questions than most of his engineers. You're good at this, Zora said during a quiet moment. They stood by the snack table, watching the controlled chaos. At what? Talking to them. Listening. Being present. She bumped his shoulder with hers. You're not as scary as you think you are. I'm not scary. Thatcher. You're a 6 feet 2 inches billionaire CEO who rarely smiles. You're objectively intimidating. I smile. Rarely. And usually it looks like it hurts. He laughed. Actually laughed. You're very honest. Eleanor said you needed that. Said you'd had too many years of people telling you what you wanted to hear. Zora grabbed a cookie, offered him half. So yeah, brutal honesty is my default. If you can't handle it, I can handle it. He took the cookie. It's refreshing, actually. A girl around 16 approached, tall, natural hair and braids, carrying a laptop covered in stickers. Miss Zora, can I talk to you? Of course, Imani. What's up? It's about the essay. For the scholarship. She glanced at Thatcher, uncertain. This is my friend Thatcher. He's safe. What about the essay? I don't know how to write about my mom leaving without sounding pathetic or angry or like I'm asking for pity. Her voice was controlled, but pain leaked through. The prompt says, describe a challenge you've overcome, but I haven't overcome it. I'm still mad. I still cry sometimes. How do I write that? Zora's expression went soft. You write exactly that. The truth. That you're still processing, still healing, still figuring it out. Strength isn't pretending you're fine. It's being honest about the struggle. But what if they think I'm weak? Then they're not the right school. Zora squeezed the girl's shoulder. Imani, you're one of the strongest people I know. Any school that can't see that doesn't deserve you. Write the truth. Let them see the real you. That's the only version worth showing. Imani nodded, eyes bright. Okay. I'll try. She glanced at Thatcher. Are you her boyfriend? Thatcher froze. Zora laughed. We're figuring it out, Zora said diplomatically. You should figure it out faster. She works too much. She needs someone to make her leave on time. Imani walked away before either of them could respond. Thatcher looked at Zora. You work too much? Says the man who works 100-hour weeks. That's different. How? I'm running a company. You're running yourself into the ground for $20,000 a year. Here we go. But she was smiling. Thatcher. I know it doesn't make sense to you. This life, these choices. But this is my calling. This is what matters. Can you accept that? He thought about Eleanor's letter. Does he respect it or resent it? Does he support your calling or see it as competition? Yes, he said. I can accept it. I don't have to like watching you sacrifice yourself, but I can accept that it's your choice. Thank you. But I'm also going to try to make it easier. If you'll let me. Thatcher. Not now. Later. Just let me think about how to help without making you feel small. There's a way. I just need to find it. She studied him for a long moment, then kissed his cheek, quick and soft. You're a good man. Eleanor was right about that. The party wound down around 9. Kids were picked up, volunteers cleaned, Zora locked up. Thatcher stayed through all of it, helping fold tables, wipe down surfaces, existing in the ordinary work of caring for a space and community. Walk me to my car? Zora asked when they were finally done. Obviously. Outside, the December cold was sharp. Their breath fogged between them. Zora's car was old, a Honda with rust spots and a dented bumper. She saw him looking. Don't judge my car. I wasn't. You were calculating how old it is and wondering if it's safe. Maybe. It's fine. Runs perfectly. Gets me where I need to go. Zora. If you offer to buy me a new car, I will actually murder you. He held up his hands. Not offering. Just worried. Don't be. Save your worry for something that matters. She unlocked her door, then paused. December 7th. Your company party. What should I wear? It's black tie. Fancy. I don't own anything black tie fancy. Then he stopped himself. Then you'll wear whatever you want. You could show up in jeans and still be the most interesting person there. Smooth. I mean it. I know you do. That's the problem. She smiled. I'll figure something out. What time? 7. At the Four Seasons. I'll pick you up at 6:30. Deal. She got in her car, started the engine. It sputtered but caught. Through the window she called out, "Thank you for tonight. For showing up. For being so good with the kids. They loved you. I loved them. I could tell. See you in 6 days." He watched her drive away, taillights disappearing into December darkness. Then pulled out his phone. Made 3 calls. First, to his financial advisor. "I want to set up an anonymous endowment for Horizon Youth Foundation. $2 million. Structure it so the director gets a proper salary and the rest funds programming." Second, to his assistant. "The company party next week. I need an extra ticket. And find out who our event coordinator is. I want to make a change." Third, to a luxury boutique he'd never called before. "I need a dress. Black tie. For someone extraordinary. Price is irrelevant. Elegance is everything. Can you help?" By the time he got home, it was past 11. His brownstone felt emptier than usual. Colder. He stood in his living room, his museum, his holding cell, and made a decision. He called an interior designer. Left a voicemail. "This is Thatcher Sinclair. I need help making my home look like someone actually lives here. Like a person, not a ghost. Call me back." Then he opened Eleanor's 6th letter. Read it alone in his study. Date 6. Give her something that scares you. Not a gift. Gifts are easy when you have money. Give her vulnerability. Give her a piece of your history, your pain, your truth. Take her somewhere that matters to you. Show her where you came from. Let her see the boy you were before you became the fortress you are now. This is the bridge, sweetheart. The place where you stop protecting and start connecting. I love you. I believe in you. Do the hard thing. Love, Eleanor. He read it 3 times. Then pulled out his phone. Texted Zora, "Change of plans for the 7th. Before the party. There's somewhere I need to take you." Her response came quickly. "Okay. Where?" "You'll see. Trust me. I'm starting to." That should terrify us both. It does. See you Saturday. Can't wait. He fell asleep in his study that night, Eleanor's photograph the last thing he saw. And in his dreams, he wasn't alone. There was warmth, laughter, kids playing basketball, and a woman in a red dress who kept showing up even when he forgot how to ask her to stay. December 7th dawned gray and cold. Thatcher woke at 5 a.m. in his study. He'd been sleeping there more often lately, falling asleep reading reports or staring at Eleanor's photograph like she might offer guidance from beyond the grave. His phone showed 2 texts from Zora, sent around midnight. "I found a dress. Borrowed it from my cousin. Please don't judge if it's not fancy enough. Also, I'm nervous. Like really nervous. Your world is so different from mine and I don't want to embarrass you." He sat up, immediately awake. Typed back, "You could never embarrass me. You're the only real thing in my world. Everyone else is just performing. See you at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Party doesn't start until 7. I know. There's somewhere we need to go first. Dress casual for that part. Bring the fancy dress. You'll change before the party. Mysterious. I don't like mysteries. You'll like this one. Trust me." 3 hours later, Thatcher stood outside a modest house in Medford, 20 minutes outside Boston, the kind of neighborhood where houses had small yards and people knew their neighbors. He hadn't been here in over a decade. Hadn't been able to face it. This was the house where Eleanor had raised him, where he'd lived from age 8 to 18, where he'd healed after his parents' death, built robots in the garage, learned to be human again. Eleanor's niece, Patricia, owned it now. He'd called her yesterday, asked permission to visit. She'd cried on the phone. She'd be so happy you want to come back, and promised to leave it open. At exactly 3 p.m., Zora's Honda pulled up. She got out wearing jeans, boots, a thick coat. She looked confused. "Where are we?" "The house where I grew up. After my parents died." He walked toward it. Eleanor's house. "I haven't been back since her funeral." Zora followed silently. They stood on the front porch, paint peeling, welcome mat worn, Wind chimes Eleanor had hung 30 years ago still spinning in the December wind. Why now? Zora asked quietly. Her letter. Letter 6. He pulled it out, showed her. She said to give you something that scares me. To show you where I came from. To stop being a fortress. He opened the front door. So here I am. Terrified. Inside, the house was frozen in time. Patricia had kept everything. Eleanor's furniture, her photographs, even her scent somehow. Lavender and vanilla. Home. Thatcher stood in the living room, and for the first time in years, he felt 8 years old again. Small. Broken. Lost. This was her chair, he said, pointing to a worn recliner. She sat here every night. Knitting, watching game shows, waiting for me to finish homework. She never went to bed before I did. Said she couldn't sleep until she knew I was safe. Zora touched the chair gently. Tell me about after your parents died. If you want to. He'd never told anyone the full story. But standing here in this house with this woman who kept showing up, he couldn't hide anymore. I was 8. 3rd grade. My parents were driving home from a work conference in New York. Drunk driver, head-on collision, they died instantly. His voice was flat. Reciting facts. Social services called Eleanor. She was their emergency contact. She drove to the hospital, identified the bodies, then came to get me from the neighbor's house where I'd been sleeping. Oh, Thatcher. I didn't cry. Not at first. I was just empty. Confused. Kept asking when Mom and Dad were coming home. He moved to the staircase, sat on the bottom step. Eleanor brought me here. This house. Set up my room. She turned her craft room into my bedroom. Bought all new furniture. Let me pick the colors. Blue. I wanted everything blue. Zora sat beside him. Close but not touching. Letting him control the distance. She enrolled me in school. Made my lunches. Came to every parent-teacher conference, every baseball game, every school play. She was 72 when she took me in. 72. She should have been retired, traveling, enjoying her life. Instead, she raised a traumatized 8-year-old boy who had nightmares every night for 2 years. She loved you. She saved me. His voice cracked. I was drowning. Going under. And she pulled me back. Taught me to laugh again, to trust again, to believe the world wasn't entirely cruel. What happened? To that boy. He grew up. Built walls. Got betrayed. Decided safety was better than connection. Thatcher looked at Zora. And then his grandmother spent her dying months trying to remind him that walls aren't the same as protection. That isolation isn't the same as safety. That love, real love, is always worth the risk. Zora's eyes were wet. She really loved you. I know. And I wasted years of it. Working, building, achieving. I'd visit monthly, call weekly, but I was never really present. Never really here. Too busy proving I was successful, like success could somehow make up for surviving when my parents didn't. He stood abruptly. Come on. I want to show you something. He led her upstairs to his old bedroom. Patricia had preserved it exactly. Posters of robots in space, shelves of books, a desk covered in old science fair ribbons. I built my first computer in this room, Thatcher said. Eleanor didn't understand technology, but she bought me every kit, every book, every tool I asked for. Said if I could channel my pain into creation, I'd be okay. Was she right? Partially. I created. Built a company. But I never dealt with the pain. Just buried it under achievement. He pulled open a desk drawer. Inside, a stack of letters tied with ribbon. She wrote me letters. Every year on my birthday, every Christmas. Even after I moved out, went to college, built my company. She never stopped. Zora picked up the stack gently. Have you read them? Since she died. No. I can't. Not yet. Why? Because reading them makes it real. Makes her really gone. As long as I don't read them, part of me can pretend she's still here. Still writing. His voice broke. Still loving me even though I didn't deserve it. Thatcher. Zora set down the letters, turned to face him. You did deserve it. You do deserve it. She didn't love you out of obligation or pity. She loved you because you're extraordinary. Because you're good and brilliant and capable of so much feeling even though you're terrified of it. How do you know that? Because I see it. Every time you show up even though you're scared. Every time you let me in even though it hurts. Every time you choose connection over safety. She stepped closer. You're doing it right now. Bringing me here. Showing me your history. Letting me see the boy underneath the fortress. Something in him cracked. Completely. The walls he'd built for 33 years, since he was 8 years old and learned the world could take everything, just shattered. He started crying. Really crying. The kind where you can't breathe, can't speak, can't do anything but feel every grief you've ever buried. His parents. Victoria's betrayal. James's betrayal. Eleanor's death. 5 years of isolation. 33 years of fear. All of it came out in Eleanor's house, in his childhood bedroom, with a woman he'd known for less than a month holding him like he wasn't broken beyond repair. Zora didn't tell him to stop. Didn't try to fix it. Just held him. Let him shatter. Waited for him to piece himself back together. When he finally could breathe again, she handed him tissues from her purse. Waited while he wiped his face, steadied himself, found words. I'm sorry, he managed. Don't be. That was 33 years overdue. Eleanor would be horrified. Eleanor would be proud. She wanted this. You feeling. You breaking open. You letting someone see you cry. Zora smiled softly. You've been strong for so long, Thatcher. It's okay to be human. He laughed wetly. I don't know how to do this. Any of this. Feeling, connecting, being vulnerable. I'm so bad at it. You're doing it right now. That's all that matters. They sat in silence for a long time. Then Thatcher stood, held out his hand. Come on. We have a party to get to. And I have something for you. What? You'll see. They drove back to Boston in his car. Zora insisted her Honda was too unreliable for black tie events. At his brownstone, he led her to the guest room where a garment bag hung on the door. What's this? She asked. Insurance. In case the dress you borrowed doesn't work. He handed her the bag. Open it. She unzipped it slowly. Inside, a gown, deep emerald green, elegant but not showy, the kind of dress that whispered class instead of screaming money. Thatcher, I can't accept this. You can. You will. It's not charity, it's practicality. I need you confident tonight, not worried about your dress. He softened. Please. Let me do this one thing. She stared at the dress for a long moment. Then at him. Why green? Because red is what you wore to meet me. Red is armor. I wanted you to have something softer. Something that feels like you, not like what you think my world requires. Her eyes went bright. You're very thoughtful when you stop being terrified. I'm working on it. She changed in the guest room while he put on his tuxedo. When she emerged 30 minutes later, he forgot how to breathe. The dress fit perfectly. Zora had curves the borrowed dress wouldn't have accommodated, but this one highlighted everything beautifully. She'd left her hair natural, curls framing her face. Minimal makeup. She looked like herself, just elevated. You're staring, she said. You're stunning. You clean up okay too. She adjusted his bow tie, it was crooked. Nervous. Terrified. You. Same. But we're doing this anyway. Yeah. We are. The Four Seasons ballroom was everything Zora had feared. Opulent, crowded, full of people in designer everything. Thatcher felt her tense the moment they walked in. He took her hand, held tight. You belong here, he whispered. More than any of them. They're all staring. Because you're the most beautiful woman in the room. Let them stare. He introduced her to colleagues, investors, board members. Each time, he introduced her the same way. This is Zora Baptiste. She runs Horizon Youth Foundation. They're doing incredible work with underserved kids in Boston. Not my date. Not a friend. Her name, her work, her identity. Zora noticed. He saw her relax slightly. Saw her start engaging, asking questions, being herself instead of performing. An hour in, his CFO, Marcus, no relation to the other James, pulled him aside. "Who's the woman?" Marcus asked. "I told you. Zora Baptiste." "No, I mean who is she to you? You've never brought a date to these things. Ever." Thatcher looked across the room. Zora was talking to a group of wives, laughing at something someone said. She looked comfortable now. Happy. "She's someone I'm trying not to lose," he said quietly. "You're serious about her." "I'm figuring out how to be serious about anything other than work." Marcus studied him. "Good. You've been half dead for 5 years. It's nice to see you remember you're human." Before Thatcher could respond, the event coordinator approached. "Mr. Sinclair, we're ready for your remarks." Every year he gave a speech. Generic corporate gratitude, future projections, thanks for dedication. He had one prepared. 3 minutes, carefully crafted, meaningless. He stood at the podium, looked out at 300 people who worked for him or wanted something from him, and made a decision. "Good evening. I'm supposed to thank you for your dedication, preview next quarter's initiatives, and make you all feel valued in under 3 minutes. But tonight, I'm going to do something different." The room went quiet. Zora looked confused. "My grandmother died 6 weeks ago. Eleanor Sinclair. Most of you never met her. She raised me after my parents died. She taught me everything that matters. Kindness, integrity, the difference between success and significance." He paused. "Before she died, she told me I'd built an empire but forgotten to build a life. She said I'd confused achievement with happiness, safety with connection. She was right. People shifted uncomfortably. This wasn't a corporate speech. She spent her final months setting me up on a blind date. With that woman." He pointed to Zora, who looked mortified. "Zora Baptiste. She runs a non-profit that serves 300 at-risk kids in Boston. She works 70-hour weeks for $20,000 a year because she believes in service over comfort. She's extraordinary. And she's taught me something in 3 weeks that I'd forgotten in 5 years. That people matter more than profit. That connection matters more than control. That love in all its forms is the only thing worth building." Silence. Complete silence. "So here's what I'm announcing tonight. Sinclair Technologies is launching a new division. Sinclair Social Impact. We're pledging $10 million annually to support nonprofits like Horizon Youth. We're offering pro bono tech development to organizations that need it. And we're implementing company-wide volunteer hours. Every employee gets 40 paid hours annually to serve their communities." Murmurs. Whispers. Someone started clapping. It spread. "My grandmother told me that legacy isn't what you build. It's what you give away. So let's give something away. Let's build something that matters." He looked at Zora. "Thank you for showing me how." The applause was thunderous. But Thatcher only cared about one person's reaction. Zora was crying. Smiling and crying. She mouthed, "Thank you." After the speech, they escaped to a balcony. The December cold felt good after the stuffy ballroom. "You didn't have to do that," Zora said. "I wanted to. Your work deserves support. You deserve support. That's $10 million a year, Thatcher." "I have it. What's the point of wealth if you don't use it for something meaningful?" She turned to face him. This is what Eleanor wanted. This. You remembering what matters. You choosing connection. You being the man she always knew you could be. "I'm not there yet. But you're trying. That's enough." He wanted to kiss her. Had wanted to for weeks. But fear held him back. What if he ruined it? What if he wasn't ready? What if? Zora solved it for him. She kissed him first. Soft, tentative testing. When he didn't pull away, she deepened it. And for the first time in 5 years, Thatcher Sinclair forgot to be afraid. They stayed on that balcony until the cold forced them inside. Until the party wound down. Until Zora's lips were swollen and his heart was racing and both of them were grinning like idiots. Letter 7, Zora whispered. Should we read them now? Tomorrow. Tonight, I just want to exist in this moment. Okay. Tomorrow then. He drove her home, her neighborhood, her modest triple-decker, her world. At her door, she turned to him. Thank you for tonight. For the dress, for the speech, for the kiss, for all of it. Thank you for showing up. Still. Always. That's what love does, Thatcher. It shows up. Love. The word hung between them. Too soon. Too fast. Too real. Good night, Zora. Good night, Thatcher. Read your letter. I'll read mine. We'll compare notes tomorrow. Inside his brownstone, he opened Eleanor's 7th letter with shaking hands. Date 7. Tell her you're falling in love. Or don't. But be honest about where your heart is. She deserves to know. And sweetheart, if you've gotten this far, if you've shown up 7 times, let her in, cried in front of her, brought her to your company party, you're already in love. You're just scared to say it. Don't be. Fear is the enemy of joy. Say the words. Take the risk. I promise you she's worth it. All my love, always, Eleanor. He read it 3 times. Then texted Zora. Did yours tell you to tell me something? Maybe. Did yours? Yeah. Tomorrow. Date 8. Let's save it for then. Whatever she planned for the last date. Agreed. See you tomorrow. I'm not going anywhere. Sleep well, Thatcher. Sweet dreams. But he didn't sleep. He stayed up all night, thinking about green dresses and non-profit directors and grandmothers who orchestrated love from beyond the grave. And for the first time in 33 years, he wasn't afraid of what he felt. He was just afraid of losing it. Sunday morning. Thatcher woke to his phone ringing at 7 a.m., early even for him. Zora's name on the screen. Hello. I can't wait until tonight. Her voice was breathless, excited. I read letter 8. We need to do this now. Today. This morning. What does it say? I'm not telling you over the phone. Read yours. Then meet me at Boston Public Garden. The Bridge. 9 a.m. Bring coffee. Zora. Read it, Thatcher. Then come find me. She hung up. He stared at his phone, then grabbed Eleanor's 8th envelope from his nightstand. His hands shook opening it. Final date. Go back to the beginning. The bridge where your grandfather proposed. Where you told each other one true thing. Go back there and tell each other the truest thing of all. What you want. Not what you think you should want. Not what's safe or logical. What your heart wants. If you've done the work, if you've let her in, you'll know the answer. And sweetheart, if she's reading her letter and showing up, she knows hers too. Don't be afraid. This is the jump. This is the moment. Choose love. Choose risk. Choose life. I'm so proud of you. I'm so grateful you showed up for all 8 dates. Now show up for the rest of your life. All my love forever and always, your Eleanor. He read it twice. Then showered, dressed, stopped for 2 coffees. Black for him, caramel latte for her because he'd learned her order, and drove to Boston Public Garden with his heart beating so hard he thought it might escape his chest. Zora was already there. Same spot as before. Same red coat. But everything else was different. She wasn't nervous or uncertain. She looked determined. Ready. You came, she said when she saw him. Obviously. He handed her the coffee. You read letter 8. I did. You. Yes. And. You first. You called the meeting. Zora laughed, but it was shaky. Nervous. She set down her coffee, turned to face him fully. Took a breath. Okay. Here's what mine said. Zora, darling. If you've gotten this far, you know he's different. You know he's worth it. You know the walls he built were from pain, not cruelty. You know he's trying. So here's my question. What do you want? Not what's safe. Not what protects your heart. What do you actually want? And then she gave me space to write an answer. Like homework. Zora pulled out a piece of paper. Worn, folded, covered in her handwriting. I wrote it last night. After we kissed. After you gave that speech. After everything. What does it say? I want you. Her voice was steady. Strong. I want this. Us. Whatever it becomes. I want Sunday mornings and terrible cooking attempts and meeting your colleagues and you meeting my kids at the non-profit. I want to argue about whose turn it is to do dishes and what movie to watch and how much money I should be taking as salary. I want to see you cry again, really cry, because it means you're feeling. I want to introduce you to my mom every Sunday for dinner because she already loves you. I want to slowly fill your museum house with life and mess and proof that someone lives there. I want. Her voice caught. She steadied herself. I want to fall in love with you. Completely. Terrifyingly. No walls, no protection, no safety net. I want the risk. Because Eleanor was right. You're worth it. This is worth it. And I'm tired of playing it safe. I've been safe for 3 years since my divorce, and safe is just lonely with better lighting. Thatcher couldn't breathe. Couldn't speak. Could only stare at this extraordinary woman who kept showing up, kept choosing him, kept believing he was worth the effort. Your turn, Zora whispered. What do you want? He pulled out his own letter. Eleanor's words. His salvation. She asked me the same question. What I want. Not what's logical or safe. What my heart wants. He looked at Zora. I want to stop being afraid. I want to believe that not everyone leaves, not everyone betrays, not everyone sees my money before they see me. I want to trust that you're real, that this is real, that it's not going to disappear the moment I let myself feel it. I'm real. This is real. I know. I'm starting to know. He stepped closer. I want you in my house. Not visiting, not as a guest. I want you there at the end of the day when I get home. I want to trip over your shoes and find your books on my counters and hear you singing off-key in my shower. I want to fund your non-profit properly so you stop working yourself to death for $20,000 a year. I want to meet every kid you mentor and learn all their names and show up to their events like Eleanor showed up. I want. His voice cracked. He pushed through. I want to introduce you as my girlfriend. My partner. The woman who saved me from becoming a ghost in my own life. I want my employees to know your name. I want your mom to expect me for Sunday dinners. I want to take you to places that scare me and let you see me fall apart and trust that you won't leave when you see all the broken pieces. He took her hands. I want to fall in love with you, Zora. I want to already be falling. I want to stop fighting it and just jump. Tears streamed down Zora's face. So jump. I'm terrified. Me too. Jump anyway. What if I mess this up? What if I retreat again? What if? Then I'll call you out. I'll remind you what matters. I'll drag you back to reality. She squeezed his hands. Thatcher. Eleanor didn't give us 8 dates to make us perfect. She gave us 8 dates to prove we could show up. For each other. For ourselves. For something bigger than our fears. We did that. We showed up. Now we just have to keep showing up. For how long? I don't know. As long as it works. As long as we're choosing each other. As long as... She stopped. Started over. I'm falling in love with you. Present tense. Happening right now. I don't know when it started. Maybe the first night when you admitted you haven't cried in 5 years. Maybe when you held my hand on this bridge. Maybe when you brought me to Eleanor's house and let me see you shatter. But it's happening. And I'm not fighting it anymore. Thatcher felt something massive shift in his chest. Something that had been locked for 5 years. Longer, maybe 33 years, just opened. I'm falling in love with you too. The words felt foreign. Terrifying. True. I don't know how to do this. How to be in a relationship, how to let someone in, how to trust. But I want to learn. With you. Because of you. That's all I need. You trying. You showing up. You being honest when you're scared instead of disappearing into work. I can do that. I think. Maybe. I'll try. That's enough. She pulled him closer. Kiss me. Here. Where your grandfather proposed. Where we told each other our first truths. Kiss me and let's start the rest of this story. He kissed her. Really kissed her. Not tentative like last night. Not testing. This was claiming, choosing, surrendering. This was jumping without a net and trusting someone would catch him. When they finally pulled apart, both breathless, Zora laughed. Eleanor is somewhere laughing her ass off right now. Probably. She loved being right. She was right. About everything. About us, about the dates, about what we needed. Zora rested her forehead against his. Thank you for doing this. All 8 dates. I know it was terrifying. Thank you for not giving up on me when I disappeared into work. When I got scared. When I was being an idiot. You're welcome. Now buy me breakfast. I'm starving and you're rich and Eleanor would want you to feed me. Eleanor would want a lot of things. Then let's give them to her. They walked through Boston Public Garden hand in hand. 2 people who'd met 6 weeks ago through a dying woman's matchmaking, 2 people who shouldn't make sense together, 2 people who'd shown up for 8 dates and found something worth keeping. At a diner near the Common, over pancakes and terrible coffee, Zora asked the question. So what now? What does this look like? I don't know. Dating. Officially. Exclusively. God, yes. I can barely handle you. I'm not adding anyone else to the equation. She laughed. Okay. Exclusive dating. What else? Sunday dinners at your mom's? Obviously. She's already planning the menu for next week. You told her about us? I told her about the 8 dates. She figured out the rest. My mom isn't subtle. Zora stole a piece of his bacon. What about your place? The museum. Are we fixing that? I hired an interior designer. She starts next week. Making it look like an actual human lives there. Good. Can I help? I was hoping you would. You see things I don't. Like life, warmth, the difference between a house and a home. That's because I care about you. It's easy to see what's missing when you want someone to be happy. She paused. The non-profit. The 10 million. Were you serious? Completely. Sinclair Social Impact launches January 1st. I want Horizon Youth to be the flagship partner. I want your kids to have everything they need, space, resources, opportunities. I want you to take a proper salary. I want. Thatcher. She cut him off gently. I need to do this my way. Accept your help but still be in charge. Can you handle that? He thought about it. About control, about partnership, about what it meant to support someone without making them small. Yes. But I'm going to push back when you're being stubborn about money. Deal. Deal. And I'm going to push back when you're working 100-hour weeks and forgetting to eat. Fair. Fair. They finished breakfast. Walked through the city holding hands. Stopped at Eleanor's grave in Mount Auburn Cemetery. Thatcher hadn't been back since the funeral. Together, they stood at her headstone. We did it, Zora said softly. All 8 dates. Everything you planned. Thatcher placed flowers at the base. Thank you. For seeing something I couldn't see. For caring enough to interfere. For loving me enough to make me do the hard work. They stood in silence for a long time. Then Zora squeezed his hand. She's not done with us, you know. What do you mean? I found a 9th letter. In my coat pocket this morning. I don't know when she put it there. Must have been months ago before she died. But it's dated for today. December 8th. What does it say? Zora pulled it out. It was addressed to both of them. She opened it, and they read together. My darlings, Thatcher and Zora. If you're reading this, you made it. All 8 dates. All the vulnerability, all the fear, all the showing up. I'm so proud of you both. Now here's the hard part. Keep going. Love isn't 8 dates. Love is 8,000 dates. Love is choosing each other on the easy days and the impossible days. Love is showing up when you'd rather hide. Love is being honest when you're scared. Love is messier than any plan I could create. But you're ready. You've done the work. Now live the life. Make it messy. Make it real. Make it yours. And know that wherever I am, I'm watching. I'm cheering. I'm so grateful you found each other. All my love forever and always, Eleanor. Thatcher's vision blurred. Zora was crying openly. They held each other in the December cold, in a cemetery, surrounded by death but feeling more alive than either had felt in years. 8,000 dates, Zora whispered. That's a lot of showing up. We'll figure it out. One date at a time. Starting when? Tonight. Dinner at my place? I'll cook. You'll critique. We'll argue about measurements. It'll be perfect. Deal. But I'm bringing wine. And dessert. And possibly redecorating your living room while you're cooking. I wouldn't expect anything less. They left the cemetery hand in hand. Drove back to the city. Made plans and jokes and promises they'd probably break and remake 1,000 times because that's what love was. Not perfection, but persistent imperfect effort. 2 months after the 8th date, Thatcher's brownstone didn't look like a museum anymore. There were throw blankets on the couch. Zora's doing. Photographs on the walls. Pictures of them, Eleanor, Zora's family, the kids from Horizon Youth. Books stacked on the coffee table. Coffee rings he'd stopped obsessing over. Life. Zora had a key. Kept clothes in his closet. Her toothbrush lived next to his. They hadn't had the moving in conversation yet, but she was there 5 nights a week anyway. It felt natural. Right. For how long? I don't know. As long as it works. As long as we're choosing each other. As long as... She stopped. Started over. I'm falling in love with you. Present tense. Happening right now. I don't know when it started. Maybe the first night when you admitted you haven't cried in 5 years. Maybe when you held my hand on this bridge. Maybe when you brought me to Eleanor's house and let me see you shatter. But it's happening. And I'm not fighting it anymore. Thatcher felt something massive shift in his chest. Something that had been locked for 5 years. Longer, maybe 33 years, just opened. I'm falling in love with you too. The words felt foreign. Terrifying. True. I don't know how to do this. How to be in a relationship, how to let someone in, how to trust. But I want to learn. With you. Because of you. That's all I need. You trying. You showing up. You being honest when you're scared instead of disappearing into work. I can do that. I think. Maybe. I'll try. That's enough. She pulled him closer. Kiss me. Here. Where your grandfather proposed. Where we told each other our first truths. Kiss me and let's start the rest of this story. He kissed her. Really kissed her. Not tentative like last night. Not testing. This was claiming, choosing, surrendering. This was jumping without a net and trusting someone would catch him. When they finally pulled apart, both breathless, Zora laughed. Eleanor is somewhere laughing her ass off right now. Probably. She loved being right. She was right. About everything. About us, about the dates, about what we needed. Zora rested her forehead against his. Thank you for doing this. All 8 dates. I know it was terrifying. Thank you for not giving up on me when I disappeared into work. When I got scared. When I was being an idiot. You're welcome. Now buy me breakfast. I'm starving and you're rich and Eleanor would want you to feed me. Eleanor would want a lot of things. Then let's give them to her. They walked through Boston Public Garden hand in hand. 2 people who'd met 6 weeks ago through a dying woman's matchmaking. 2 people who shouldn't make sense together. 2 people who'd shown up for 8 dates and found something worth keeping. At a diner near the Common, over pancakes and terrible coffee, Zora asked the question. So what now? What does this look like? I don't know. Dating. Officially. Exclusively. God, yes. I can barely handle you. I'm not adding anyone else to the equation. She laughed. Okay. Exclusive dating. What else? Sunday dinners at your mom's? Obviously. She's already planning the menu for next week. You told her about us? I told her about the 8 dates. She figured out the rest. My mom isn't subtle. Zora stole a piece of his bacon. What about your place? The museum. Are we fixing that? I hired an interior designer. She starts next week, making it look like an actual human lives there. Good. Can I help? I was hoping you would. You see things I don't. Like life, warmth, the difference between a house and a home. That's because I care about you. It's easy to see what's missing when you want someone to be happy. She paused. The non-profit. The 10 million. Were you serious? Completely. Sinclair Social Impact launches January 1st. I want Horizon Youth to be the flagship partner. I want your kids to have everything they need, space, resources, opportunities. I want you to take a proper salary. I want. Thatcher. She cut him off gently. I need to do this my way. Accept your help but still be in charge. Can you handle that? He thought about it. About control, about partnership, about what it meant to support someone without making them small. Yes. But I'm going to push back when you're being stubborn about money. Deal. Deal. And I'm going to push back when you're working 100-hour weeks and forgetting to eat. Fair. Fair. They finished breakfast. Walked through the city holding hands. Stopped at Eleanor's grave in Mount Auburn Cemetery. Thatcher hadn't been back since the funeral. Together, they stood at her headstone. We did it, Zora said softly. All 8 dates. Everything you planned. Thatcher placed flowers at the base. Thank you. For seeing something I couldn't see. For caring enough to interfere. For loving me enough to make me do the hard work. They stood in silence for a long time. Then Zora squeezed his hand. She's not done with us, you know. What do you mean? I found a 9th letter. In my coat pocket this morning. I don't know when she put it there. Must have been months ago before she died. But it's dated for today. December 8th. What does it say? Zora pulled it out. It was addressed to both of them. She opened it, and they read together. My darlings, Thatcher and Zora. If you're reading this, you made it. All 8 dates. All the vulnerability, all the fear, all the showing up. I'm so proud of you both. Now here's the hard part. Keep going. Love isn't 8 dates. Love is 8,000 dates. Love is choosing each other on the easy days and the impossible days. Love is showing up when you'd rather hide. Love is being honest when you're scared. Love is messier than any plan I could create. But you're ready. You've done the work. Now live the life. Make it messy. Make it real. Make it yours. And know that wherever I am, I'm watching. I'm cheering. I'm so grateful you found each other. All my love forever and always, Eleanor. Thatcher's vision blurred. Zora was crying openly. They held each other in the December cold, in a cemetery, surrounded by death but feeling more alive than either had felt in years. 8,000 dates, Zora whispered. That's a lot of showing up. We'll figure it out. 1 date at a time. Starting when? Tonight. Dinner at my place? I'll cook. You'll critique. We'll argue about measurements. It'll be perfect. Deal. But I'm bringing wine. And dessert. And possibly redecorating your living room while you're cooking. I wouldn't expect anything less. They left the cemetery hand in hand. Drove back to the city. Made plans and jokes and promises they'd probably break and remake 1,000 times because that's what love was. Not perfection, but persistent imperfect effort. 2 months after the 8th date. Thatcher's brownstone didn't look like a museum anymore. There were throw blankets on the couch. Zora's doing. Photographs on the walls. Pictures of them, Eleanor, Zora's family, The kids from Horizon Youth. Books stacked on the coffee table. Coffee rings he'd stopped obsessing over. Life. Zora had a key. Kept clothes in his closet. Her toothbrush lived next to his. They hadn't had the moving in conversation yet, but she was there 5 nights a week anyway. It felt natural. Right. Sinclair Social Impact had officially launched. Horizon Youth received their first grant, not 10 million, because Zora insisted they start smaller and prove they could handle it responsibly, but 2 million. Zora had hired 2 additional staff members. She'd given herself a raise to 40,000, not the 6 figures Thatcher wanted, but progress. They compromised constantly, fought regularly, loved deeply. Sunday dinners at Nadine's were sacred. His calendar blocked them out. He'd learned to make collard greens. Nadine taught him, declaring his first attempts an insult to vegetables everywhere, but showing him anyway. He cried more now. Randomly. At movies, at non-profit events when kids succeeded, reading Eleanor's old letters late at night. Zora never made him feel weak for it. Just held him. Reminded him that feeling was proof of life. They fought. Terribly sometimes. About money. She still refused to let him pay for everything. About work. He still defaulted to 100-hour weeks when stressed. About vulnerability. He still retreated sometimes when fear hit. But they worked through it. Showed up. Apologized. Tried again. Tonight, Valentine's Day, Thatcher had a plan. He'd made reservations at Saltai Girl, where it all started. Zora thought they were just celebrating 2 months of officially dating. She had no idea what he'd actually planned. At 6 p.m., his doorbell rang. Zora stood there in a red dress, the one from their first date. She'd kept it. "You wore red," he said. "You said it was armor. Figured I'd need it if you're taking me back to where this all began." She kissed him hello. "Are you being sentimental?" "Maybe. Is that okay?" "It's perfect." She noticed he was wearing the navy suit, Eleanor's favorite. "You're being very sentimental. Special occasion. 2 months isn't exactly a milestone." "Humor me." At Saltai Girl, they were seated at the same table. The same waiter. The same menu. Thatcher Sinclair. Zora was laughing. "Did you recreate our first date?" "Not entirely. Order whatever you want this time. I'm not following Eleanor's instructions." "Except you are. This whole thing is very her. She taught me romance. I'm working with what I learned." They ate. Talked. Laughed about those first nervous dates, how neither had wanted to be there. How Eleanor had trapped them both with promises and guilt. "I'm glad she did," Zora said softly. "Trap us. I almost didn't show up, you know. That first night. I sat in my car for 10 minutes debating." "So did I. What made you come inside?" Her voice in my head. Saying I promised. That promises matter. He reached across the table, took her hand. "And I'm so glad I did. So glad you did." "Me too." After dessert, he pulled out an envelope. Her name in Eleanor's handwriting. Zora's eyes went wide. "Is that?" She left it with her lawyer. "Instructions to give it to you tonight. February 14th, 2025. If we were still together. And if we weren't. Then instructions to give it to me. As a reminder of what I'd lost." He handed it to her. "Open it." Zora's hand shook. She opened the envelope carefully. Inside, a letter and a photograph. Eleanor, much younger, with Thatcher as a little boy. They were laughing. Zora read aloud. "Zora, my darling girl. If you're reading this, it worked. You and Thatcher found each other. You're still choosing each other. I couldn't be happier. Here's what I need you to know. He's going to struggle. He's going to retreat sometimes. He's going to forget how to be present. When that happens, remind him. Don't let him hide. Don't let him build new walls. And Thatcher, because I know you're reading over her shoulder, she's going to give too much. She's going to exhaust herself trying to save everyone. When that happens, take care of her. Make her rest. Remind her that she matters as much as the people she serves. Take care of each other. Fight for each other. Show up for each other. That's all love is, really. Persistent showing up. I love you both. I'm so grateful you found each other. Now make me proud. Live fully. Love fearlessly. Build something beautiful. All my love forever and always, Eleanor. Tears streamed down Zora's face. Thatcher's eyes were wet too. She really thought of everything, Zora whispered. She really did. He stood, pulled Zora up with him. Come with me. One more thing. Thatcher. Trust me. He led her outside to his car. Drove them to Boston Public Garden. To the bridge. The spot where everything had started to shift. It was freezing. Valentine's Day in Boston was cruel. But the bridge was decorated. String lights, candles protected by glass, roses in the snow. What is this? Zora asked. This is me showing up. This is me choosing you. This is me. He stopped. Started over. Eleanor told me that love is persistent showing up. That it's not one grand gesture, it's 8,000 small choices. I want to make those choices. With you. I want every Sunday dinner and every argument about money and every time you force me to cry and every moment you make me remember I'm human. I want all of it. Thatcher. I'm not proposing. Not yet. It's too soon, we both know it. But I'm promising. I'm promising to show up. To do the work. To not disappear into my fortress when I get scared. I'm promising to fight for this. For us. For the life Eleanor wanted us to build. He pulled out a small box. So this isn't an engagement ring. It's a promise ring. A reminder that I choose you. Today. Tomorrow. For as many tomorrows as you'll give me. He opened the box. Inside, a simple band, emerald green stone, the color of the dress he'd bought her. Will you keep showing up? Even when it's hard. Even when I'm being an idiot. Even when. Zora kissed him. Stopped his words with her mouth, her hands in his hair, her whole body saying yes before her words could. When she pulled back, she was laughing and crying simultaneously. Yes. Obviously yes. You ridiculous, sentimental, emotionally constipated billionaire. Yes. He slipped the ring on her finger. It fit perfectly. Of course it did. He'd been planning this for weeks. I love you, he said. I'm in love with you. Completely. Terrifyingly. Without safety nets. I love you too. Have for weeks. Was just waiting for you to catch up. I'm caught up now. Good. Now take me home. Our home. And stop being so romantic. It's messing with my tough exterior. Never. Eleanor would want me to keep being romantic. I'm honoring her memory. Eleanor would want you to be happy. So be happy. They drove back to Beacon Hill. To the brownstone that wasn't a museum anymore. To the house that was slowly becoming a home. Inside, curled up on the couch that now had throw blankets and coffee rings, Zora said what they were both thinking. She knew. From the beginning. That we'd be good for each other. She did. She always did. You think she's watching? Wherever she is. I know she is. Probably yelling at us to stop being so dramatic and just enjoy it. Zora laughed. She'd be right. They fell asleep there on the couch, holding each other. Two people who'd met 6 weeks ago through a dying woman's interference. Two people who'd shown up for 8 dates and found 8,000 more waiting. Two people who'd learned that love wasn't safe or logical or convenient. But it was always, always worth the risk. Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as you can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.